Cape Town Summit's Information Minister lists ethical leadership, strong institutions as recipe for sustainable development.
Our foreign reserve has grown to about $49 billion. Headline inflation is down. Food inflation is also down.
Late Murtala Muhammad Memorial Lecture focuses on African leadership in a new world order.
He led with a decisiveness and unmistakable sense of national duty.
Nigerians go to the polls in a year's time as Independent National Electoral Commission unveils 2027 general election timetable.
1. Presidential and National Assembly election will come on the 20th February.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on the NTA Network News. I am Lami Ali. Benny Adams will bring us the latest updates from the world of business. Benny.
Well, it's been a week of positive gains in Nigeria's capital market as well as around the investment community. We'll give you details of how it all went down.
And standing by for sports is Bade Adeleye. He has highlights from the world of sports. Bade, what's making headlines tonight?
Well, Lami, Nigeria's Falconets have declared their readiness for their Senegalese opponents on Saturday. And of course, there's an update when it comes to WAFCON 2026 host.
So do stay tuned. We promise to bring you an informative bulletin with in-depth reports, analysis and updates from across the country and beyond. Now remember, you can watch this broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and across our other social media platforms displayed on your screen. Now, let's get started. And we begin with politics. The 2027 presidential and National Assembly election will hold in February 2027, while that of governorship and state houses of assembly is scheduled for March 2027. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amopiton announced this as the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf was there.
The release of the notice of elections and schedule of activities for the 2027 general election is taken pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended and Section 28 of the Electoral Act 2022, which mandate INEC to publish the notice of election not later than 360 days before the date appointed for the election.
The Commission hereby sets in motion the electoral process for the 2027 general election and fixes the date of the 2027 general election as follows. 1. Presidential and National Assembly election will come on the 20th February 2027. 2. Governorship and State Houses of Assembly will be 6 March 2027.
The INEC chairman also reacts to the current electoral amendment bill that is pending in the National Assembly.
It is imperative to note that while we are eager to adopt any amendments that may strengthen our electoral processes, we must also act in accordance with the existing provisions of the Electoral Acts.
Political parties are strongly advised to adhere strictly to the timelines. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will on Saturday embark on a one-day official visit to Kebbi State to inaugurate projects executed by Governor Dr. Nasir Idris. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy says during the visit, President Tinubu will also open the 61st edition of the 2026 Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival as special guest of honor. The festival is one of Africa's most celebrated cultural events, staged along the historic Martin Fada River and recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Nigeria has called for a continental shift towards health security sovereignty in Africa, aimed at moving the continent from reliance on foreign aids to self-sufficiency, homegrown health systems. Vice President Kashim Shettima presented Nigeria's position during a high-level side event at the ongoing 39th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Governments of the African Union, AU, in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
A matter of necessity to ensure the health of Africans is not subjected to the uncertainties of distant supply chains or the shifting priorities of global panic.
There's no doubt that each country here reached an awakening on health security about 6 years ago.
Vice President Kashim Shettima reaffirmed Nigeria's readiness to partner with other African nations to build a continent that is capable of healing itself.
For decades, Africa exported patience and expertise. The African Medical Center of Excellence signals a reversal of that narrative. It demonstrates that African institutions, supported by host nations, financed by African capital, and strengthened by global partnerships, can deliver world-class tertiary care on African soil.
The Vice President cautioned against the consequences of vulnerability, recalling that during the global health emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic, when the world turned inward, Africa waited, attributing Nigeria's success in responding swiftly to disease outbreaks to strengthen epidemic intelligence and emergency preparedness.
We must commit to multi-year procurement frameworks that provide demand visibility to manufacturers. We must invest in workforce development in biomanufacturing, biomedical engineering, and regulatory science. We must strengthen anti-counterfeit enforcement and supply chain transparency to protect both patients and legitimate businesses.
Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, said Nigeria is committed to leading by example by boosting capacity building initiatives for the health workforce in Nigeria and beyond, and turning ambition into reality. The African ministers at this meeting want leaders to accelerate progress toward the continental target of 2 million community health workers by 2030, increase and sustain domestic financing for the health workforce. Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has asserted that ethical leadership and strong institutions remain the surest path to peace, justice and sustainable development. President Tinubu was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the Global Council for Political Renewal (GCPR) conference held in Cape Town, South Africa. Here is the report.
Presenting Nigeria's position on good governance, institutional reforms and human rights, President Tinubu said ethical political conduct is no longer optional in a divided, fast-changing world with deep political and ideological polarization where misinformation spreads faster than truth. He reaffirmed his administration's commitment towards strengthening transparency, accountability, and institutional performance under the renewed hope agenda.
A democracy does not have a single origin, nor does it have a single destination. So it is important for all of us to come together to work towards a value that works for the entire world. Nigeria is indeed part of this democratic journey, and we want to ensure that Nigeria is, in fact, continues to take its place in the Committee of Nations, to continue to play its active part towards peace and stability, not just on the African continent, but also around the world.
President Tinubu also reaffirmed Nigeria's alignment with the founding ideals of the GCPR, which promote dialogue, justice, and peace across nations, and acknowledged international cooperation as critical amid global economic uncertainty and security challenges.
We have seen in the last 1 year, almost all the rating agencies in the world are giving a pass mark to Nigeria. All the rating agencies of the world are saying that Nigeria is indeed the destination to be. Only a week ago, the president of the World Bank was in Nigeria, giving Nigeria a pass mark in its economic reform. The IMF also did something. So everyone, indeed only in the last quarter of last year, the Financial Action Task Force delisted Nigeria from the so-called grey list. Of course, we've just heard from the Central Bank of Nigeria that our foreign reserve has grown to about $49 billion. Headline inflation is down. Food inflation is also down. You know, our GDP is on the rise. So Nigeria is indeed turning the corner towards prosperity that Mr. President has promised.
The fourth annual meeting of the Global Council for Political Renewal is to address contemporary challenges by promoting peace, justice, human rights, and innovative political solutions through international cooperation.
Now, the federal government has intensified security operations across Nigeria's north-central region following terrorist attacks, during which 75 villagers were killed in Kwara State. In a statement, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the renewed offensive, codenamed Operation Savannah Shield, involves the deployments of military, police and forest guard units under the expanded security mandates declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on November 26, 2025 rather. President Tinubu condemned the attacks, describing it as heartless, while the Nigeria Police Force has redeployed officers from VIP escort duties to strengthen community policing across affected states. The minister added that Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts remain Nigerian-led, with room for strategic international cooperation where necessary. Ranked 6th on the Global Terrorism Index in 2025, Nigeria's security challenge keeps evolving. But the Nigerian Army, through its War College, is responding by grooming officers who can act with clarity under pressure and harness indigenous technology to secure the nation against threats. Defense correspondent Naja Atiti-Jan reports from the Army War College, Abuja, where course 10 participants have been tasked with looking beyond the classroom.
Nigeria's security challenges keep evolving. More than 565 lives were lost to terror attacks in 2024. And in 2025, Nigeria ranked 6th on the Terrorism Global Index. Volatility and uncertainty cuts across all the regions of the country. And the question remains, what is the Army's response? Well, the answer lies here at the Nigerian Army War College, Abuja.
Since its inception in 2017, the college has continued to play a key role in developing the capabilities of operational level officers in operational act, military leadership, and basic strategic skills. Our key focus as an army, especially at this defining period of our nationhood, must be on enhanced operational readiness and robust administration.
Course 10 of 2026 is forging that response, preparing leaders who can respond to crises with clarity and precision.
With 9 completed courses, the college has established itself as a dependable platform where the Nigerian Army refines ideas and evaluates operational solutions to contemporary security challenges.
The mission is also broader than the college, harnessing indigenous technology for national security. Naja Atiti-Jan, NTA News.
We go to the National Assembly, where the Minister of Labour and Employment, Maigari Dingyadi, says the absence of capital funding last year prevented the ministry from employment interventions and expansion of international commitments as agreed with global partners. Dingyadi, while defending the 2026 budget, warns that Nigeria risks suspension from the African Regional Labour Administration Center due to outstanding statutory contributions. The NDLEA also defends its proposal before the Joint Narcotics Committee. The Labour Minister explained that the federal government is not relenting on interventions to enhance employment generation, enforcement of labour standards and preventing industrial disputes, but that a major impediment is funding.
We would like for us to ensure that this bill is passed into to strengthen your desire to meet up that.
We have not been able to pay our subscriptions at ILO and the ALAC. But I told them that just today we have been able to get assurance of the Ministry of Finance that these fees are going to be paid.
Management of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, while making submissions on the proposal for 2026, urged more support to enable the agency tackle the menace of illicit drug use and trafficking in the country.
So employment is key to us. The chairman has made spirited effort and met with the president because we have an approval for 5,000. The president has agreed. So we're waiting for the cash backing. Your men are well respected. Your men are doing very, very, very well. And they are always exposed to risk. So we have a duty to protect them and to fight for them. Insecurity in our country, 50% of it caused by all these drugs issues. We're supposed to immediately declare state of emergency.
The National Youth Service Corps proposes to spend a total amount of 484.5 billion naira for personnel emoluments and overhead costs for the year 2026. This was revealed by its management at the budget defense session with the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Youth Development's National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikpen reports.
Revenue generated by the NYSC in 2025 from its portal, garment factories and farms was 1.3 billion naira, falling short of its 1.6 billion naira target. The scheme considers its 2026 allocation as crucial.
As of today, we kit each corps member, we give them 12 items. Each corps member, what is budgeted for is 28,040 naira.
If we go back to the books, and then we see that what you are saying is not in alignment with what you have submitted, then be rest assured that we'll call you back.
If NYC does not meet the standard, it's something that we are going to know because we deal with human beings.
At another budget defense session, various agencies under the Ministry of Power presented their proposals for 2026, with the Transmission Company of Nigeria allocated 154 billion naira.
There is this multilateral bilateral tie loan, Northern Corridor. Transmission Company of Nigeria has 147 billion.
We will study the more. If there are further clarifications, we'll call you.
At a public hearing, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating concessionaires operating air and seaport terminals and related shipping activities from 2006 to 2025 has given agencies affected a 7-day ultimatum to submit all requested documents.
We can't shake your head on your absence, so we need you to also prove that, okay, these are the documents you have.
The committee says it will cross-check data presented with extensive records already available to Parliament. From the National Assembly, Mitairi Ikpen, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. Time to pause to bring you some messages. Do stay. Thank you for staying. Now, 50 years after his defining Africa has come of age address at OAU Summit in Addis Ababa, the Murtala Muhammad Foundation is revisiting the meaning of African sovereignty and leadership in a rapidly changing world. It was at the 2026 Murtala Muhammad Memorial Lecture Series where Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, represented President Bola Tinubu. Kelvin Iwunwai reports.
All are past and current political office holders from across Africa, including 2 of Nigeria's former presidents. The goal, as envisaged by the Murtala Muhammad Foundation, is to, through keynote reflections and dialogue, translate the legacy of former head of state into action by using his thoughts and governance to strengthen institutions, renew leadership standards, and position Africa on the global stage where its leaders and citizens can pride themselves as Africans.
If Africa has to come of age, Africa has to go at the rate of 9–10% GDP growth every year.
General Murtala Muhammad came to power at a critical moment in Nigerian political history. What distinguished him was his clarity of purpose. He led with a decisiveness and unmistakable sense of national duty.
Murtala's speech was at its core a defense of African humanity,
He spoke against systems that denied the African person his or her full worth.
Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Now, 50 years after his assassination in a failed military coup, legacies of the exemplary leadership and achievements of late General Murtala Muhammad are still on the front burner. Joel Popola reports that February 13th has become a monumental day in the annals of the nation's history.
A tenure short-lived by a botched military coup on February 13, 1976, but the 200 days administration of late General Murtala Muhammad has been described by leaders of thought as one of the golden era of Nigeria's history. This art exhibition at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs is symbolic as it succinctly captures the timeline of the achievements of the late head of state who ruled Nigeria from July 29, 1975 till February 13, 1976. This exhibition is an opportunity for members of the public to listen to his speeches and remember his legacies, part of which includes the creation of 7 states, making Nigeria as at then 19 states.
For the 200 days for which he ruled, he was so pushful and so resourceful and so important, pushing forward the agenda of a great united nation.
He was a man of faith, he was a man of leadership, he was a man who cared very greatly for this country, and we hope that Nigerians all over the world remember that.
General Murtala Muhammad was born on November 8, 1938. His life of leadership and selfless sacrifice, stakeholders believe, is an inspiration to the younger generation. In Lagos, Joel Okwola.
And former military governor of Kwara State, late Colonel Ibrahim Taiwo, is being remembered today, 50 years after his assassination. His legacy of discipline and transparent leadership remain the focus of activities marking the 50th anniversary of his assassination, held at the Muslim cemetery in Ogbomoso, his hometown. Lukman Hassan has the details.
Family members, government officials, military representatives, as well as residents of Ogbomoso gathered to honor the life and service of Colonel Ibrahim Taiwo, who hailed from Jagundado in Ogbomoso. The Chief of Defense Staff and others described him as a disciplined officer whose commitment to accountability and good governance left a lasting footprint.
He had instilled a level of discipline on his offspring that they were able to strive and rise in their various careers.
Because he left a good name, everywhere you went, people recognized him.
Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak and family members reflected that the late Colonel Taiwo was a devoted father who placed high value on education, unity, and community development, urging young Nigerians to uphold the ideals he stood for.
We all here say thank you to a man who's done very well for our dear state and wish the family well and guidance as they go about the virtues of life.
Loved Nigeria. He wanted the unity of this country. He fought for it, and unfortunately he died for it.
During the Nigerian Civil War, Colonel Ibrahim Taiwo was one of the Nigerian Army officers who played important administrative and operational roles in support of the federal government. The 50th remembrance of Colonel Ibrahim Taiwo, assassinated February 13, 1976, featured laying of wreaths and a ceremonial gun salute.
Now, APC members and supporters in Nasarawa State held a mega rally in Lafia to show support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reforms aimed at repositioning the economy. Aliyu Tijani reports that National Chairman Professor Nentawe Yilpada and Chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodimma, assured Nigerians that the federal government remains committed to tackling insecurity and promoting sustainable development.
Since the return of democracy in 1999, elections in the 6 area councils of the FCT have always been uncertain for the ruling party, and this is now provoking a new order, with heavyweight politicians of the APC extraction in the front line for victory. 138 members committee, one task, one strategy, and united for success, the national chairman of the party, Professor Nentawe Iwada, declared as members are coordinated to raise the APC flag high across geopolitical spread in the FCT.
I assure Mr. President and our party leaders that we will work as a team with local stakeholders and community influencers to deliver FCT to the all-progressive Congress.
We're having governors from all the 6 geopolitical zones. And the reason why we brought people from all these zones is because in Abuja or in FCT, we have people who are from all these 6 geopolitical zones who resides in the FCT.
Is assured for the groundwork as chairman and governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, and secretary and deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, take charge of the national assignment to secure victory for the APC. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
We take another break. The news continues shortly. Business news is next with Bunny. Hello, Bunny.
Thank you, Lami. And now, talking business. Nigeria has secured a permanent seat on the board of the African Central Bank following deliberations at the 39th session of the Executive Council of the African Union. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga, in a statement, says the development marks a significant diplomatic milestone, and the minister also added that the representation on the board of the African Monetary Institute through the Technical Convergence Committee, adding that the decision reflects Nigeria's technical capacity, economic significance, and commitment to advancing Africa's monetary integration agenda. Tuga added that the outcomes further consolidate the country's leadership role in promoting economic integration, institutional development, and democratic governance across the continent. Well, let's take a look at commodities. Oil prices edged higher this Friday, but we're on track for a second weekly decline as concerns receded over the risks of a U.S.-Iran conflict that could affect supply. Brent crude futures gained 29 cents to $67.81 a barrel in early trade after falling 2.7% in the previous session. Let's take a look at the numbers across other commodities at this time. Well, look at the market. It was a high energy Friday across Africa's major trading floors, with the market ending the last weekday of the NGX with a total of 936.2 million traded shares in 49,088 deals, corresponding to a market value of 52.334 billion naira were traded. 132 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 53 gainers and 33 losers. Less in Nigeria led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 2,662 naira per share, followed by Union Dye-Consult, Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank, and Mark Nichols. On the losing side, Skyway Aviation Handling Co. came out last with the end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 135 naira per share, followed by Guinness Nigeria and Omatech Ventures. And looking at South Africa, the GSE Top 40 was a bid on the BS, while in Tunisia, the closing was also about 120,555.32 basis points. That is it on business for the week. Lami?
Many thanks, Bunny. Now, the presidential initiative on unlocking healthcare value chain has secured billions of dollars and euros in guarantor financing to support investors seeking to establish bankable industries in Nigeria's healthcare manufacturing subsector. PVAC's National Coordinator, Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, said the initiative has arranged guarantor financing from the European Investment Bank worth €1 billion for education and healthcare manufacturing, and another $1 billion from Afrexim Bank.
Yeah, another project, obviously there's a test kit company in Port Harcourt that we are going to commission. It's a company called Secure, and they've already done their facility. They are doing the testing, so that is going to happen. Another game changer is the localization of family planning products. 2 or 3 other test kit companies that I know that are coming on ground will be breaking ground also here in Abuja for a big pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. So when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu went to Brazil, he actually facilitated the partnership between a major Brazilian group called EMS that has already found a local partner. They finalized their feasibility study. They're going to invest about $200 to $240 million.
Operational activities will soon commence as the newly constructed headquarters of the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, as all issues delaying the use of the edifice have been resolved. The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiakunle Salako, said this during an inspection of the site, which had been abandoned for months. Lekon Agbonde reports.
Inspection visit by the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare to the National Health Insurance Authority (NHIA) head office in Ogun State was prompted by a viral social media post about the state of the edifice completed over a year ago. The minister says the office, since its completion, was not formally handed over to the NHIA, which is one of the agencies under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Health, as the agency refused to take possession of the edifice because some of the facilities that were supposed to be provided by the contractors were either missing or vandalized.
We can't have this, and then we leave it to be wasting away. But I believe that the contractor will not allow that to happen. There must be a completion period in his contracts. And I believe that if he has exceeded that completion period, then we can query and ask him questions.
He reiterated the government's resolve to ensure that due process is adhered to while executing projects in the interests of Nigerians. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Nigeria's animal health system has recorded another milestone with renewed efforts aimed at strengthening resilience and securing a sustainable future for the livestock industry. Yusuf Jika reports that the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, stated this while inaugurating a state-of-the-art veterinary clinic in Mayobelwa local government area of Adamawa State.
The veterinary clinic is equipped for animal disease surveillance, diagnostics, treatment and prevention aimed at improving livestock production.
This clinic is also located where there is abundant livestock population and movement, especially cattle, sheep and goat, hence serving as an internal control for disease detection purposes.
Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, stated that the facility complements the model veterinary hospitals built under the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project across the country. He added that it symbolizes renewed hope for animal health, resilience, food security and economic empowerment, aligning with the objectives of the Renewed Hope agenda.
Ultimately, this will translate into healthier herds, higher yields of meat and milk, improved incomes for producers, leading to greater stability in the livestock sector.
The minister inaugurated a meat sales point in Mayobelwa, fitted with a solar-powered cold chain for meat preservation. He also handed over a brand-new tractor to the Gongwashi Grazing Reserve as part of the implementation of the Renewed Hope communal ranching policy, providing a new lease of life for pastoralists and livestock farmers. In Yola, Yusuf Jika.
Stories from the world of sports will come after the break, do say. I know. 50 years after the assassination of former Nigeria's head of state, General Murtala Ramat Mohammed, family members, associates and other Nigerians observed a special prayer in memory of the late general. Amin Umar reports that it was a solemn moment that was attended by the brigade commander 3 Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Ahmed Muhammad Sukur.
50 years on, late General Murtala Muhammad is still remembered for his leadership and service to the nation, and this Friday marks the exact day and date of his assassination at the Murtala Muhammad Mosque in Kano. Special prayers were offered for the repose of his soul. Widely described as incorruptible, patriotic and committed Pan-Africanist, General Murtala Muhammad is remembered by his immediate family and the military community for the sacrifices he made in service to Nigeria.
And if you could recall his speech at OAU then, Africa has come of age. I don't think there is any speech that has shaken the world like that.
The Nigerian Army still reveres him as one of the senior officers that the Army is proud of, and as a national leader that has put a lot of efforts in making the country to where it is today.
In appreciation to his service to his fatherland, General Murtala Ramat Muhammad was immortalized by naming so many monuments in Nigeria after him. Notably among them is Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos, and particularly here in Kano. There is Murtala Muhammad Library, there is Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital, and also the Gidam Murtala, in addition to this mosque, among others. In Kano, Aminu Umar, NTA News.
Many thanks, Aminu. Time now to look at Saturday's weather prospects.